So, yeah, we have some time. We don't have to get started immediately, but we can take the time to arrive together in the room, and it will be mostly a discussion between us, but we are also interested in you, of course. You will be able to ask some questions a bit later on. And I would like to get started with getting a feel of the audience. We assume you're all familiar with Drupal, but we don't know how familiar are you with artificial intelligence. So if you have already used AI, please raise your hand. Most of you, that's good, okay. If you've already used AI in Drupal, please also raise your hand. It's maybe 30%, 20%. If you're actively, let's say, developing an AI, what can we call it? Like an integration or a module or something, can you please raise your hand? Oh, cool. It's a few. Perfect. So I'm really excited that these colleagues are joining me. We call it AI and Drupal, what's up and where are we going? Yeah, really happy to have those folks with me. We do, let's say, some rounds of interview questions, and then there will also be, you will be able to ask questions as well. So I would like to start with a little bit of an introduction. Who are we? Why are we here? What we're doing already with the AI, and what would we like to get out of this? So I'll start into the practice. So my name is Josef. I work as a product owner and Drupalista at Liip. I've not used a lot of AI. I was a bit cautious. I use it a lot more recently to just understand questions like, I don't know, how's the heating system work in the house? Or, yeah, basically the AI is able to explain the concepts really well, so I like it. And in the Drupal context, we're building a project now with the chatbot integration of AI. And what I would like to get out of this is, yeah, just like have a discussion of what people are already doing. I think we have a lot of different perspectives. So I'm excited to have all passing on the torch.
Okay, hi, I'm Frederik Wouters. I'm currently maintainer on the AI module and some of the contrib AI modules as well. I'm not in the core like Marcus and Jamie are, but I was the one that worked in some of the smaller modules like the SQL editor and translation because I really wanted something in it for the editors. At Dropsolid, I'm also working on AI projects and resales, but I want to get out of it today and just enjoying and see. So.
Hello, I'm Nicholas. I'm CTO in a company called Smile, where we do projects for our clients. And currently we are mainly using AI as a tool to help in various subjects like training our junior developers, for example, learning new languages or new frameworks. We also use it to help us with pre-sales work. Trying to filter which project we can bring more value on. Obviously, we are also using it in our implementation on day-to-day. And I'm here, well, for the discussion because it's a moving topic, so I'm curious to know what you people think about it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael, channel manager at Media.io. So we do hosting, and one important part for us from a hosting point is data protection in general. So a lot of our customers, they have very sensitive data and they need to be hosted in specific locations. And in terms of AI, what we're seeing is that a lot of people just use random tools on the internet. That, if they would read like the privacy policies of AI and stuff, they would probably scream and run away because, basically they can do whatever they want with the data. They're claiming like they're not training with the data, but they still have access to read it and to use it for anything else. So what we're looking at is to offer basically an AI that protects your data, because we're not a company that trains models, so I'm not interested to know what the mass AI. So we're working with the Drupal AI team to build basically an integration so we can offer actually data protected AI. I think specifically in Switzerland, that's always an important part. But we're seeing overall, globally, worldwide, more and more companies are really, or governments are really interested to make sure where the data actually goes. You all heard news about all the different countries trying to spy on each other and stuff like that. So that's what I'm most interested personally. I'm in my job. I unfortunately can only write like maybe 10 lines of code if I actually need to write code. But the good thing is now with AI, I can write much more code because I can tell an AI what it should write. So it's kind of exciting again because I can write more, write more code. So.
Yeah, my name is Lukas. I'm the founder of NETNODE and NodeHive CMS. And for me, there was like a breakthrough moment when I think GPT 3.5 came out. And to be honest, I had some sleepless nights because I saw all our business falling apart. Well, okay, then you start using it and see potential. And actually, our agency, we completely are AI driven also. So soon after, we bought a pro license of GPT for all our employees. And we are even changing the way we do discover, define, design, how we build prototypes. So we also have V0. So we do a lot of headless stuff, Next.js, JavaScript stuff. And we create with V0, I don't know if you know, to complete prototypes in minutes. Use that as a discussion to go on. So we actually changed also the process, how we work. So there are several layers I would like to talk. So it's obviously tools we use internally or as developers, but what is actually bringing value to end users and how can we really use AI in a productive way. Still, a lot of tools are still gimmicks in a way. It's an amazing ride the last 2 years, and it's not stopping. I don't know if you heard the OpenAI release of all the agent APIs yesterday. Yet another breakthrough, I would say. So it's not stopping. I think it's still excellent.
Thanks. My name is John Linder. I'm working for Liip as a developer, so I write code. And I think it changed how you write code, AI, and I'm using all these tools on a daily basis. They are not writing all my code, but they're helping improve my efficiency and supporting me. And the second part where we really invested and use AI a lot is the part of the search. So the breakthrough is that I can now talk with a machine and she gives me an answer that makes sense. That was the glory moment for me. And I think that's just one puzzle piece of what AI is, but the search one is where we invest most. But I would like to get out of this talk, this discussion, is also to know all fields, how we can improve ourselves with AI. I think we just scratched on top of it what is possible, and I see a huge potential.
Thank you. So before really going to Drupal, can anyone give like a categorization of the different application fields of AI that you see? Is one of you kind of maybe I can't just repeat what I heard. So we have help with code generation, really facilitating the development. We have heard, for example, the search or the chatbots. I heard you mention the differentiation of it's just like let's say a vector-based search, or if it's like agentic that kind of interacts with you, and it's kind of more like an intelligence. So along those lines, I would like maybe some help with the classification of different applications of AI. So
yeah. If we're talking about feature, I think the list is pretty long. But I would like to categorize more key or users, I would say. For example, starting from the end user, you've got visitors. What AI can bring to your visitors in general. Then you'll probably talk to your content editors with tools in your rich text editor, for example, or anything like this. Then probably site builders to help bring the website together. And then you develop in teams and DevOps teams, infrastructure, you can have some things too. And you can push it a little bit further with pre-sales teams or sales team in general, where some intelligence can bring to. I would say that. Anybody present?
Like this categorization, but for Dropsolid, in the digital experience platform, the marketeers are also important, but in your categorization, they're end users, but still like.
Find that one thing, like, if you look at other open source tools right now, what's really happening is that each of these categories right now, so if you look at like the user that maybe has a chatbot to search, editor that has a CK editor, then like, the site builders, these are completely separate modules that you need to install completely separate. And what we saw in Drupal happening, like in DrupalCon Lille, I remember, there were some presentations that looked like 40 different Drupal modules that all did AI, and they had no standardization, there's no AI core, nothing. And what's really happened, and I'm extremely impressed by the community that we really pulled together, is that we somehow kind of all agreed that this is going the wrong way. Let's go back, let's build the core, and let's build all these plugins. That, when I saw that, because I spent a lot of time in Drupal 8 and like multilingual, so I was very involved in the recent time, and I had other stuff to do. That was really the thing that for me made me excited about the whole Drupal stuff. Because I think if we do this right, and that is extremely hard in open source communities, is to agree on a standard how we do stuff. For proprietary CMS, it's extremely easy because the CTO just stands in front of everybody and says, this is how we build it, this is how we do it. And that's honestly why they have their experience builders. That's why they are so much better than all the open source part, because you have somebody that gives a guide, and that's where we all go. That's why us people struggling, they always struggle with that. With multilingual, we have been very bad in the past. I think fixed a lot of these things, but it just takes longer for us in open source community. In AI, though, I really believe, compared to the other open source CMSs, we are probably a year ahead. And I think that's extremely exciting, because now that we have built the core, where you as a module provider, you don't need to worry about which...
Sorry, Michael, I will
Sorry, yeah.
briefly stop you. I love to talk about Drupal, but let's keep a little bit
Okay, what I want to say
for later.
is we have a massive opportunity.
I absolutely agree with that. I do think, though, that there's still many AI models out there that aren't using the AI core yet. So please, if you feel like using one of these, also create an issue that it should be AI core. There's still, I think, hundreds or more modules out there that don't need. So adopt one, make the issue. I've made a lot of issues already, but please help me with that, and it will be very valuable. I totally agree that we have a big step ahead, but it won't take too long for the others to catch up. So this is something that we should really take with both hands.
Maybe one question, not sure if it makes sense for you, is that we could think about, let's say, also maturity levels or complexity levels. It sounds like, let's say, today building a chatbot is rather easy, or there's simple chatbots and then there's advanced ones. So if you think about, let's say, the very advanced use case or the very small use cases, the group be able to give some examples of what you're already using in terms of AI. Still something that you have figured out.
Yeah, I think there is a huge range between doing it right and just building the prototypes. You will have the chance to build a prototype tomorrow. I will give a workshop where you can build the most simple chatbot you can think of, not Drupal related, just to understand how it works. But we have experience in our company at Liip that if you want to build a chatbot the right way, also the customer is satisfied by results, you need not more than just a chatbot, because chatbots are usually not very good in structured data. You probably have a lot of structured data, so you have to also cover this use case. And it takes a bit of time to learn how this works and to understand, and then improve it. And I think Drupal now has a lot of modules and starting points, but these are just ingredients, and you really need to invest a bit of time and money to really make it production. What we currently have. Maybe you do not agree, but what I have seen, I think it's quite a bit different.
I also see this, for example, in the issues that come up in the AI module and in the Slack channel that people are indeed struggling with to get the chatbot to work exactly the way they want it. Sometimes and a lot of that is the prompting and the configuration, but you're absolutely right.
So, let's officially move to Drupal part. My question would be, if you look at Drupal and AI, how has it evolved? And what should people check out? Or what's the use case to look like to tackle it when it comes to integration between Drupal and AI?
Yeah, I mean, some points were already mentioned. I think it's very good that we have a stack within Drupal, which is harmonized. I think that's very good. I have the feeling that the agents that exist now are powerful, but maybe not the major case that people use it. Okay, it's cool that I have an agent to create a content type, but over the time of the lifespan of a Drupal site, how many times do I use this functionality? So I won't create 100 content types every day. So the benefit is there, that's for sure, but this is not a killer feature. If you would analyze like job to be done, what you do on a Drupal site as a teacher, it's obviously working with content. And I think at the moment there is still some missing features there. For example, Sanity is a headless CMS. They have a very interesting concept. You have like a canvas, as you know it, for example, in ChatGPT, you have an open document, and then you click on a button, and then the AI figures out what section of this open document go to what in the structured data. That would be a very interesting case to, have this like Google Docs editorial experience and then still save it to structured data. This is something I would like to see, and in general, everything around editorial would be very interesting to go on. But not saying that the other agents are bad or so. In contrary, I think it's very, very powerful. But yeah, that's my opinion as from now on.
Yeah, I think so that I think we're just like at the very early beginning. Like that's honestly like I think we're still building like just the fact that we can have agents that can actually do stuff. I agree. Like the ones that you have out there right now, if you show them to an editor that has never seen Drupal and say, like, look, I can create a content type, they're like, so what? Like, why is this cool? But if you show it to a person that creates a lot of content types all the time, the fact that I can tell them, like, I can give them a Google spreadsheet that has all the fields in it and creates it automatically, that sounds extremely cool. I think we're on the point now that we need to hear all these different ideas and either build them or write them down somewhere. And what for me really is exciting, having been in 15 years Drupal, is like, is that we can completely rethink how we do create actual websites. Because so far we've always had this like, okay, you get a design by a designer, and then you need somebody that understands how do I now change this into content types, how do I reflect that in Drupal? And the fact that we already see demos now, where people take screenshots of whole design, give it to a Drupal AI, and it creates the content types, the views, and all the stuff fully automatically. It's maybe not perfect, but at least of what I've seen, it's a lot of time, and I think this should make Drupal way more accessible to way more people than it is today. And I think that's what we're struggling with. Like, we have an extremely flexible system that is hard to use, and I hope the AI part can make it much easier to use.
On meta level, I'd like to add that if you feel like there's a use case that you think would be nice to have in the AI module, don't hesitate to add as an issue on the module, because now nobody knows. So you add it as a feature request, other people might chime in, and all of a sudden people might start actually building on it. So please put it there. Nobody's doing that use case.
So what I want the Figma button that says building Drupal.
Yes, do it, yeah. add issue. There is code already related to that.
I think we have now a very strong tool set in the foundation, and the best ideas that are just ahead of us. We're not right there. I'm thinking of everything that's workflow and business process related. What can be done with content automatically? We talked about automatically checking if content is still valid, or all these kind of things. We could build them today. We have the foundation, but we have not yet done it. I'm pretty sure if we sit together in a year, all these kind of things will be there. And hopefully, and that's what I really hope for, what I expect from Drupal, should be also doable with the no-code approach. I think that's something we should have looked at it. I think in your workshop you showed that we can get quite far without coding. And this should, if you want to go be aligned with Drupal CMS, all these AI things should be possible without code. If this is achievable, that would be great.
Yeah. Also, personally, I think AI is a very great learning tool. Previously, Christina told us about UX in Drupal, tools for new users. And I think there's something to play here with the AI, how we can help people understanding Drupal more. And for our clients, for example, the contribution team, how we can help them not only with chatbot, but with tools that allow them to understand how to use the solution. And we can think a little bit out of the box here, because I don't know if you've seen, but a few days ago, the Opera browser released a statement about its new agentic browsing feature, where you not only have a chatbot talking to an OpenAI thing on your browser, but you can ask your browser to perform very advanced things directly with the action of your browser. For example, I want to go to the mountain camp, and I say, I ask my browser to prepare my travel for me, and it will automatically go to the mountain camp website, get the tickets for me, check the hotel, check the whatever train I need. So if we can think of such UX perspective inside of Drupal, that would be really cool.
We should have a merchant that organizes the next month. So it sounds like, okay, there's so much to explore, and maybe we can do to people that are now working on stuff. You can explain a little bit of what's on your roadmap, or where's also places that you would like people to get involved.
So please get involved with whatever idea that you have. I think that's a good point to start. If you feel the need for automatically updating nodes based on whatever prompt, this is a very simple module, I think. You can help a lot of people. What I'm currently doing is sort of with AI, where people probably leverage MCP, model context protocol, to expose the Drupal tools into other AI models. So we have not only the Drupal, but also the Mautic as other tooling available. I think everyone should check out at least MCP to see what it is, or try to make your own agent. It's one page. Make your own agent. You can check with patterns and search. So I think these are all good parts, good points you can idea.
Yeah, so one of the things that having been talking to Jamie from the Drupal AI team is like, what is really hard, it's extremely hard to demo right now, the AI features. So like there is try Drupal CMS on Drupal.org, but if you want to install the AI tool, you have to first install 7 modules, you need the AI key and stuff like that. So we're going to launch it in Drupal Atlanta. What we're building on is to basically a dry Drupal CMS AI feature, where you can sign up and you can get a Drupal CMS with AI and with a token there already. And we're going to give everybody a couple of million tokens for free for every CMS, and they actually play with it and try it out. So to make it extremely simple for you or for your customers to try it out. So if you show all the cool features, you can completely free try it. We're going to spend probably around $100,000 on all the AI and tokens. But I think that's really the piece that we as a hosting company, like, pay us delivering already a shit of money. So we can like just give it. Because I really believe that's the part that will bring us to the next level. It's going to first just in Drupal CS AI, and later on, probably in April, we're also going to be able that you can actually install in your own Drupal site. And there you're also going to get a free trial at first, because we get people to get their hands dirty with it, because that's at least was for me. I've heard all this stuff, but the first time that I asked the chatbot create me a content type with 3 fields and it did it, that was this like, and I want everybody in here to experience that. And you shouldn't first go to OpenAI and enter your credit card and all that stuff to have these moments. So that's what we're working on.
Yep. The end goal will be that Drupal is gain popularity again and easier to use for everybody. That's like the end goal I want to achieve. And it sounds like a great plan that will make it more accessible and AI. Yeah.
As I'm working for an agency, we have to a bit focus on the client needs. So we have internal, it's called an AI wish list, where clients' ideas are collected, and then based on that we prioritize them and try to implement these kind of things. And one thing that always came up was this topic about how do we manage a lot of content that is getting old, and how do we figure out that this content has to be updated. And I think that's a topic we will tackle in the next months.
Yeah, just one small contribution. I started a YouTube channel also covering Drupal topics and AI topics. So there's a podcast with Jamie from the AI module. And so I think what I learned by publishing this video, I think people are very keen on this kind of content, because it gives context to what we have in the Drupal ecosystem. You know, if OpenAI is publishing videos, what does it mean for Drupal itself, for our ecosystem? And I think this is very important that we educate everybody and actually bring people on board. Besides, Jamie's and Marcus, and they are very deep in the topic, and you can hardly follow if you have never heard about this. So we also need to translate that, and so that's something I think is very important. Education workshops as it.
Thank you so much. I'd like to take the opportunity to ask the audience also to either you have an experience to share, or you can ask panelists your question. So I'll use that one microphone and we share the other microphone. So would like to make a comment or ask a question for the AI folks?
Yeah, thank you. It was interesting. You talked yesterday that you use AI responsibly, like you're consuming a lot of resources. How do you make, you talked about when there is a gap between the toy and something that's really productive. How do you decide how to invest? Like, I'm not spending all that effort in just another gimmick on something very useful, because the field is very new. Everybody is a bit trying out things. How do you decide where to put your focus so that it matters at the end?
Frederik is really focusing on return on investment. So so you have to make a case for it. So that's what happens. Does it make actual difference? Isn't it just like it's a nice feature to press the button? Or does it make actual difference in the end? That's what's the return on investment?
Two things. One, just to add a small thing to what Nico said about UX, helping people understand. Emma Homer mentioned what she's much with UX research lead for Drupal CMS. She was testing already AI with Jamie and initial chatbot integration that they had. One of the things that they found is that people understand Drupal way better when they use the chat because they understand it's content type thing. So that's more like. And question more like broad. So the community has been always a place where people have shared and built together. If we wanted to train either models or like, let's start with an example. If we put there a chatbot and somebody comes and says, I want to build a SaaS website, if we have like the data from all community that has shared, okay, if you want to build a SaaS project, we have all this information already from on a content model perspective. This is a content type that we should be built. And we want to store all this data and already like everybody is like building this stuff. Would it be possible to train the agent or the chatbot with mixed data or share data from anyone and store it somewhere so we can make them intelligent?
Yeah, that's a good question. So today we all use like modules that are just trained on the internet in general. At the very beginning, like 2 years ago, in the hype of AI, like fine-tuning was a big thing, and then people just realized that you actually don't need to train the modules. But I think this is coming back, and people starting to build specific models for specific purposes. And like, of some people I talk to is like, yeah, for example, the current models are much better in writing Python than for PHP. So I think there is a possibility as that if we find a way that we could share like best practices, because in the end, what these models need, they need a lot of things. The functions needed once, needed a lot of times. So I think it could be a possibility for actually starting to train them. I do think though right now we haven't even reached what is possible with just the current capabilities. And also the training we need to understand is extremely expensive. Like, I mean, when DeepSeek came out, people were excited that it was only $10 million. So it's just like, it's still a lot of money. So, I think with the current capabilities, we can do a lot, but I would predict that in the future we maybe have specific models that are trained on Drupal sites. But I think that's maybe like 5 years down the road, and can achieve a lot with just what is there, like all the agents and connecting them and all that stuff. I think we should probably be able to create a lot of stuff.
Maybe we can sell all the data on Drupal.org before the issues to train some model, as Reddit also did with their content.
I do have an anecdote there. So one of the issues in one of the modules I maintained was that please replace JSON encode by the Drupal JSON encode version. And this is something that I actually don't want to do because this is a very simple task that could automatic. So I didn't fix it, but I wrote a script that fixes it for me, and I applied it on the repository. And having this, I was really like, oh, it would be so cool to have this all the repositories of people for it, so that this never have to be solved again. This could be extrapolating for all of us. It's very. What I want to say is maybe you don't need a very big model. I think a very big model would be worse than having a good model with a small responsibility. It will work much better.
Has anyone looked into the energy consumption question? Or have you taken that?
But we are asking ourselves a question about the ethics of models we are using. It's really hard. It's a really hard question to answer. We talked earlier about, like for example, image generation, going with models that are trained on the internet or trained on a specific artist database that are assigned for that. There are plenty ways of doing that. Energy consumption is one aspect of it. Obviously, those questions need to be raised, but it's really hard to have a hard answer on that.
It depends on the specific application. So, for example, you can do a retrieval augmented generation, the search replacement thing. There, you might be with a super heavy LLM, but you can also do it to a very lightweight model that you can run on a smaller server. I can imagine that the energy footprint would be substantially smaller. So, but this is something I think is very hard to generalize. So it really depends on a case-by-case where you want to apply AI, with different models, which is where the model is.
So yeah, there's some host provider that maybe have more green policy that can help with that.
Yeah, energy consumption, I guess, is a huge problem and probably underestimated at this point. However, I think it's still very early in this AI journey, and we see it also with recent developments that training these massive models doesn't make sense. We learn more on how these LLM models work, and we tend to see it become smaller and still keep its capabilities. And I don't know if you know that the Chrome browser itself has an AI and a small LLM model built in the browser. And so I see a future where the models with very specific capabilities are much more energy efficient and just do the job in a good way. It's still using a lot of energy, but I think we are early on this journey, and I mean, there is an incentive for companies to save electricity. So I have big hope that this will go down.
Yeah, I mean, as a hosting provider, this is a topic that comes up from time to time. I mean, again, I believe it's a free market and it's controlled through price. So if you use a very big model that uses more energy, it's going to cost more. And in the end, it's your decision as the user or the person that selects the model. Yeah, if we maybe show them the price next to it, and tell them, hey, if you use a smaller model, it's not only going to cost less, but it's also going to use less energy. I think that's the incentivization. Honestly, I don't believe people like to use less energy, but they like to pay less. So if we make them aware that this is actually directly correlated, there will be companies. The other thing that we have to understand is also like, usually what we describe today as green energy is more expensive than the not green energy. And so I think it's a balance between, are we willing to pay more, but because it's less bad for the environment, or are we right now focused on lower prices? So I think, for me, it's just a transparency that we need to show the people that decide these things, what these decisions mean. And maybe one of the things in the AI module that would be cool is that technically we could analyze the requests and that the AI module automatically suggests you to say, hey, based on your complexities of the request, because you could ask an LLM to analyze the complexity of the request that was sent to LLM. So you can do it twice, and then you could actually tell, or maybe AI by itself decides, hey, I don't actually need all this complex model that costs a lot. I just use, the next time I do a request, I may send it first to a smaller model that is less expensive and therefore uses less energy. And then maybe the tool AI model can show, I saved this amount of CO2 or whatever. That's technically possible.
Cool. We have 10 minutes left. If you have questions, raise your hand. And otherwise, I would invite you. Maybe you have a question for another panelist. Need to find out.
Does Drupal have any views on data privacy and education of people using systems that we're building through themselves?
Yeah, a lot. I think right now, what's unfortunately happened is that a lot of people completely ignore what's actually happening in the background. And it's clear to me that on one side we have all these GDPR discussions and all that stuff, and somewhere in the AI we completely forgo all of it. And I understand it on one side because people are excited, and if people are excited, they are less less concerned, or they just throw data around. But I think what is happening right now is there's so many companies, even governments, that use OpenAI APIs, and you ask them have you read the privacy policy? It's no, it was working. Look how cool it is. And I think right now, there's not really a real transparency for a person that uses an AI where this data actually goes. And I know there are these ideas to force this to happen. And I kind of hope this is going to happen. Because I think, right now we're very useless and or we don't care at all. And this might blow back in one way or another. Because I can tell you, AI loses a shitload of money. They need to find a way to make money at one point. And the way to make money is to use all the data we gave.
One of the points of the entire switching of models was actually what you were saying. So this is also why in the AI model we do the switching of the models is exactly because of that. Because I wanted to use Mistral in all of the OpenAI models. So I think that's the idea of having it in the abstract way. What I do the vendors, that's also set for the future. But by doing my models, I add the AI Act slides where I explain transparency and the risk thing, and I think everybody should do it. So everybody that implements AI should also add the AI population. So this would be required.
Maybe that's for us. Maybe we can do a better job in Drupal AI itself to actually make it more obvious for the people that select the models where they're hosted and stuff like that. Because right now, in Drupal, it just shows you a list of models and there's no indication of talking about price, talking about energy consumption, but also maybe we should talk more about data protection as well, that the people are aware, I'm right now, I'm sending all my data to the US, for example.
And maybe one thing we should also mention here is you can host your own LLM actually quite easily, either locally through Olama. I highly recommend to install that. And there are smaller models like V4 from Microsoft, which is very powerful, and it's completely privacy safe. So maybe it's been a chance to have these LLMs acting in a very confined privacy safe space. So of course, data is all going around. Just also a small anecdote. I made a prototype with browser use where you can basically write your own operator, and it's using OpenAI. And I said, okay, try to find the marketing person from a certain client I wanted to contact. And went out, obviously it scratched all the content, sent it back to OpenAI, including personal data. And, it's the operator on behalf of me who is sending maybe privacy sensitive data all around the internet. So I think there's a complete chaos in respect of that. And if you would add regulation on that, I don't know if you then lose the actual potential of AI altogether. So I don't know where this ends up. I don't have an answer to that.
Maybe one thing we see often is the question of where does the creativity start or end? It can tend to be a very... when I asked AI to generate a text, I'm very happy with it because it's a bit fresher. Or sometimes it also hallucinates. So what's your take on quality, making the quality high for whatever you do with the AI? You just have your own tricks, how you make it work. You then manually review everything and you achieve what you want.
No, I don't think that you can get good quality in the first round. So I always use AI as a starting point. And then to make it perfect with additional iterations. And my personal recipe is to not start with huge steps. So you start with a simple task and then you improve it step by step. And what also is helpful that if you have a specific tone or specific rules that always apply. Most of the tools, they have pre-prompts or possibilities to input them, and that can highly change the outcome that you have in general. And if you work on coding side or generating code, sometimes you're just thinking, I can generate code. AI is also capable of giving you ideas how to start things that you have no idea how to do. Maybe the ideas are not perfect, but you have at least a starting point. I think that's also very, very helpful.
Yeah, I guess to see like the AIs are really good in writing code because they have seen a lot of code and we kind of have understanding how code looks like, because if you write it wrong, it doesn't compile or you have an error. But if you create content, there's so much different content out in the world. So one of that really worked for us is just provide an example. So like if you wanted to write a blog post about a topic, give it the last 3 blog posts that you wrote yourself and say, this is the style I want. And then it has so much more things to go with. And I think that's I always say, like, look at it as a really dumb but very fast person. Like, and you would, like, you not tell a random person on the street, write me a blog post and expect it to come back. You would talk to that person in a way like, hey, I need a blog post about this topic and look at these 3 other ones that I already wrote. And that's what the AI is. It's a very fast worker that has seen the whole internet, but doesn't know anything about you and you can provide it. And I think that's also like coming back to Drupal, that's where we're like super excited. Like right now, if you ask chatbot, write blog posts, whatever, we don't actually inject any of the other content automatically. But that's where we could be really cool because it's already running inside the system that already has content. So that could be really cool. I think that could be extremely powerful because if you see all these other tools like Anthropic and things they write project things and you upload stuff already. And so if you could build all this inside Drupal, that would be much better. Because I think that's an overall thing. It's like, why do we have all these other tools if we just do it in the tool that we already use, which is Drupal?
I saw a demo of a competitive software storage sheet. It's a content management system that's proprietary. And they have these things where you have your content pillars and you have your target audiences. And they put this in all of their AI features. So the moment you ask it prompt, because you ask a content question, that it automatically knows I'm generating this target audience and using these content pillars. And this is one of the modules that I created because I see that we're going to have to do this in some point in the future in Drupal. And then it will be tokens that are costing to all of the fonts everywhere. So it's coming to us. So you have to buy it against.
Any more questions from the audience? Something that came to my mind is we also have Symfony developers attending the conference, and Drupal is heavily based in Symfony. So we also don't have to do everything ourselves. Like, what's the take on? There's a lot of, you mentioned open source AI models, maybe also the tooling. I'm sure if we have to solve everything with Drupal tools. Do you look at I don't know how is there like an angle where we can collaborate with the wider open source ecosystem, especially in the CMS world, and stuff like that, to collaborate in the space?
I think in organizations, apart from writing code or Drupal specific code, there's many other. For example, triaging issues in Jira or Redmine or system is one solution. If you triage them, checking if the field correctly, and executing those for the issue, maybe assigning it to developers that are active, present, know this project, something that an AI can do. So in the entire flow of getting this thing into production, writing the code is one part, but I think there's many different aspects where you can apply AI to some efficiency in the organization. Obviously, something code will also be
You talked about this previously. Talked about the pre-sale thing. You talked about Brenya, which is a product who applies AI to basically all the offers you choose 2 answers. And then you post your resume, right? Select for you the right profile.
So it's a tender monitoring tool, and you upload your best offers for other tenders, and it will automatically say, okay, this is probably a good match for you, and it will generate a draft based on your previous offers. And then you can chat with your offers, it will automatically make sections based on what the requests, and then it will resumes and all these things will be. I've seen mixed results in the company, but absolutely faster than if you had to do it all yourself. I'm sure a lot of tenders will also be generated soon. You say the answers cannot be generated with AI, even if the questions or the tender is generated with AI. So, yeah.
I think we're almost running out of time. Closing remarks. What are you taking out of the room? What's next for you in AI?
So I'd like to talk with you about checking the content. We have clients that 60% of their time is updating content. So I think we have a shared use case there. That's my main takeaway.
I think at the moment in Drupal we're quite ahead, and I think at the moment we have all the tools, and we just need to bring our ideas and build new features with all the tools available. We don't need to include other technologies or things like that. We just need to combine them and build stuff. And it's now up to all Drupal developers, also up to you to use the tools and build cool AI stuff. And saving as much power as possible.
Yeah, I mean, from my side, I don't have Drupal developers anymore in my company, unfortunately. So I can't contribute actually back, but we want to contribute, or we want to enable all of you. So if you want to, it's not launch yet, like it's going to happen, but if you want to talk to us already, like we really want to give the Drupal community access to AI free. So if you want to build stuff, you want to build cool demos, whatever, talk to us. We can create your account and you can get AI tokens for free. Because that's the one I can do. But I don't have Drupal developers anymore, unfortunately.
I was just thinking what I should say, but I'm excited about these times. It reminds me to the late 90s when I built my first website. Everything was new and exciting, and I have a new hobby actually, which is vibe coding. So I just talk to my AI and build cool stuff like mini apps and stuff. And I like that, and we should just embrace AI. I think it's here to stay. Let's use it, and see where we end up in a year or two.
I think we have a good momentum right now in the community, and we have a chance and opportunity that we are in the middle of reinventing ourselves with Drupal CMS, with the experience builder, and it happens at the right time with this AI hype that is going on. So let's keep asking ourselves the right question. Let's keep moving forward. We have a good pace, I think.
Thank you very much to the panelists, to you all.